Good morning. It's so good to be here, or good afternoon, wherever you are on this beautiful planet. I know that you are here, divinely brought in to be here right now, to enjoy, to hear, and to take on board in your heart what it is that is going to come through in this next 20 minutes, half an hour or so with me. My name is Laura, and I give this show here twice a week on a Tuesday and on a Friday at this time, same time. And this is a show that supports you, a broadcast that supports you with your awakening, your spiritual awakening, and the alignment of that. Because boy, do I know that aligning through a spiritual awakening whilst in it and after it is like a whole spiritual practice on its own, and it allows us the opportunity to open our hearts to be more fully engaged and connected to the power that we truly are and what it is that's come through as our mandate. New Vista, new mandate, and a whole new world. And I know that we are journeying and adventuring this in every moment. In every moment, we are spiritually awakening. In every moment. And some of us feel that to a much higher and greater degree. And we go through these experiences that we can't quite understand, that don't make sense in our logical minds, that we can't contain in our hearts, and those around us don't understand what we're going through either. And so it can feel, like we're lost at sea here on a voyage without a compass. And yet that is not the truth, because the awakening is actually our voyage to back to ourselves. We know, and we can gain further and deeper clarity of who we truly are and what it is that we're called to bring to this life. What is your purpose? What are you here for? And often, many a times, we need to go through these experiences so that we can get shaken up and woken up to see the power of who we are and what it is that's knocking on our heart's door, so that we can open and express this in our lives and be the teacher of this and the guide of this. And it's not always a comfortable journey. So I assist people that are finding that journey difficult and can't quite understand it in their hearts. And if that is you, then you're in the right place right now. So my topic for today is, this is going to happen on God's timing, not on our timing. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't have a call. We can't call it in for the now, of course, because there is only now, and it really is always happening in this now. This now is an eternal now, and is not necessarily a linear by the clock. It's got to, I'm here to do this and I want this to happen right now. This isn't a linear at 3:55 p.m. this will be happening, or in 4 days' time. We set the intention now, and we call it into our knowing, and we embody it in our awareness now. And we step back and allow the unraveling to take place. And that is the mystical, that is the metaphysical, that is the spiritual, if you like. That is the combination of all of those three as God showing up as us in our humanness. So when we're asking for something to change, which we often are doing, whether we want to get rid of something or whether we want to bring something in, there's always that going on for us. We're calling on those two ends of the spectrum, if you like. We're continually asking for something different in our lives. That's the nature of who we are. We have free will as human beings, as infinite. We're tapped into the infinite. And so we have this free will, that we have this choice, we can choose. And very often we're not happy with the choice that we have in this moment. And so we want to make changes. We want to allow for newness to come through, or we want to be prepared for the change. And in that change, we have this amazing opportunity. In this transformation, we have this amazing opportunity to say, this is it. This is what I desire. and this is what I don't desire. So we know in our teaching, in the New Thought teaching, we stay with the positive, we stay with what we do want, we stay with the more of what we want, rather than looking at what we don't desire. Because when we're looking at what we're not desiring, then we're going to bring more, we're amplifying that and multiplying that, because that's how the law works. That's how the nature of life, that is the nature of life, that what we put our intention on and our attention to is going to be the atmosphere of what we are co-creating as human spiritual beings. So we're focusing on what it is that we do want, what it is that we want to succeed in, what it is that we want to be useful with, what it is that we want to achieve, how we want to show up. And when we're shining that light, or the light on that, then we're amplifying more and asking for more of that in our experience. So this is going to happen not when we think we're ready. It's not going to happen when we think it should be happening. It's going to happen when we show up. We show up as a match for that. And then we show up as in the highest light of who we are, as these divine beings that we are, unified in our spiritual and human awareness as that. And that's going to be on God's time. So we're being called constantly with what it is that we want and desire for our lives to match that higher template, that divine template, that of the divine, of God. When we match that in our vibration, in our frequency, in our intention, then that is when we see the shifts occurring in our life experience. So I can think of, so many examples for me personally when I've wanted something to happen. I've wanted it in my heart so much. I've wanted this particular thing to happen, and it hasn't happened when when I in the time that I wanted it to happen. And it's in that letting go. And when I match, one example is, I would say, with wanting to, I wanted, when I was in fashion and retail. Where have I gone? When I was, are you still there? I'm still here. What's happening? Seems to have gone. When I was in, I'm back. When I was working in fashion, in retail, in a job that I really, really didn't like, and I wanted to leave that job. And I couldn't see for myself how leaving that job would be a good move without having another job to go to. And yet I really wanted to not be there. And what I decided to do was to start focusing on what I really did want. And I wanted at that time to become a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. And so what I did was I started taking classes, night school classes and weekend classes, to train as that. And I can see it now as I'm looking back at this whole experience as it unraveled, that the more I was getting into the training, this was a year of training, 10 months of training, the deeper I was getting into that training, the more opportunity I was being given to prepare myself to actually exit from the job. And I was getting clients lined up before I'd even completed the training. And I was starting to work with clients. And what happened was that by the time that I was ready to leave that, to say goodbye to that particular job, which had been a huge chunk of my life, I was fully prepared. I was completely fully prepared to step out of that and into the new, because I had let go of the expectation of it having to be that I was leaving the job today. And I focused on what it was that I really, really wanted. And I allowed the divine to show me the way. And this is what, it's a learning for that I continue to learn from, and that we're all learning from, because we all want it to happen, whatever the it is. We all want it right now. We all want, and that can become extremely frustrating, especially if you've experienced or are experiencing an awakening within yourself where this isn't right anymore, this doesn't align with me anymore. Well, the key here is to allow that new alignment to occur without thinking that you have to be the one that really makes it happen. So it's like trusting, having that faith, and knowing that through your awakening, you have this incredible power to set dynamic intentions and to lift and align with this new way of being that has been completely seeded now in your heart. So you don't have trouble matching that place of feeling incredible, of feeling that bliss, of feeling that unity, because it's the experience you've been through in your transformation process, in your alignment, or as you see a new way and you realize that this is God showing you, or this is the divine showing you right now the truth of who you are. This within you, you have this incredible resource. And when we stay aligned with that, we are then on God's timing. We are becoming then the vessel, the instrument, if you like, or both of them, the container for setting that intention and moving in the direction of it. And so our work is to be open and to be accepting and allowing and expansive in our hearts, so that we allow through what it is that we are asking for, in a way where there is no resistance. Because when we create this tension inside of us of I want it now, we're actually living in that place of lack. We're coming from lack. We're affirming that we don't have those qualities right now. We don't have that joy. We don't have the finance. We don't have the health, the fulfillment. We're affirming that. But we're coming from that place of, I want it. Want needs to be scrubbed out of the languaging completely, so that we know that we have that now. I have it now. I'm in that place. I'm living in and from that incredible place of light and love and peace and joy and harmony. So I contain all of that and bring it in even further as my experience. And I live from that. And then we see our lives changing and unfolding and progressing towards this incredible intention that we have set for our lives. And I know that when we have these awakenings, and I can say this from my personal experience, that when we have these awakenings, we have an intense calling on our lives, a new mandate. I put that in the description here: new Vista, new mandate, and a whole new world, because we see we see our experience of life differently. And within that, we have this incredible purpose that we know, which is the calling or the Dharma or the understanding of why we're here. And we want it now, we want it now, we want it now. And I think what I have learned over the last 10 years from when this happened for me is that wanting it now is incredible. And there are steps that I have to be willing to take. There is new information that I have to be willing to take into my heart. There's new learning that I have to be prepared to go through, new education that I have to be willing to sit and educate with and study and learn and write and read. There's new meetings and conversations that I have to be prepared to just allow into my experience of life. There's new challenges, seeming challenges that I have to go through. There's healings, many, many healing experiences that I'm called to be present with and to be available to work through that healing and the revealing. and there's inspirations that I have, that I'm being invited to sit and wait and be patient to receive, the word or the idea from divine within me. And so it's a continual, progression. And it's yeah, I want it now, and yet, okay, I have to be prepared to sit and be in this now with all of this, and to say, yes, this is the next part. Yes, this is the next step on this path, on this adventure. And that is the me receiving it now. So I'm sure that, for you, if you're listening here right now, then you are invited to look at this thing, what it is, the calling in your heart that you know that you are, is yours to do or yours to be, and check the frustration around this if it's not coming into your experience right now. If you're feeling like it should be here right now, check on that within your heart, and why you're not, ask yourself why you're not prepared to be with this, and to ask this experience what it needs of you right now, so that you can be more present and more available for it to come into your experience. Because this is all about you. And if we think and feel about this, and realize that there is only you here, there is only you here right now. And so you are the one that is experiencing me. I am experiencing, this talk through the screen, and that we're all doing this in our own world, in our own ways. And so we have this incredible power. We have this incredible opportunity within our hearts to really experience our own individual worlds in the most beautiful of ways. And that means that when an experience, such as an awakening experience, occurs in our lives, we're responsible for the way that we treat it, for the steps that we take, for the intentions that we make, for the way that we align with the divine. And it's the patience that we are being called to live with, to live in. When I walked the labyrinth in 2012, before we walked in, each of us individually, there were about 15 of us. It was a huge labyrinth. And before we walked in, there was this collection of beautiful crystals that we were invited to pick one up, and they each had a word on them, but the word was, on the underside, so we'd never know which one until you pick it up, to what we picked up. And I picked mine up, and I still have it. I didn't bring it here, but I still have it, and it said patience. It said patience on the underside. And I take that as my teacher, to be patient, to know that this is unfolding, and not to live in from the frustration, to live from the knowing that I am taking inspired action, and to have the faith in that action, even if it's not all opening up in the way or as quickly as I think it should be. Because it's the intention and the feeling that is being resonated with, if you like, in the creative law. It's my intention, it's your intention, that's going to be aligned, that's aligning with the law. Yes, our thoughts and our feelings and our beliefs, of course, mega important, all of it all together. And if we're having thoughts and feeling differently, then we're not aligned. We're not living in that alignment. And so we're then in a house divided. And so the creative law, it really is kind of keeping us like, oh, which way? What do they want? What do you want? What does she want? What does he want? It's uncertain, and it keeps us then in a state of limbo. So our job is to be clear and very clear and very clear, and to be very patient, and to know what it is, what your calling is, what that mandate is for your life, and to hand it over and surrender, to that divine timing. Take away the clock, the watch, the phone clock, put that away and tune in to the spiritual timing that is not linear, that does not go by hands ticking and seconds, that is cyclical and spiral and upward momentum of experiences and meetings and opportunities and circumstances that are all happening at this time, that are all kind of conspiring to bring your heart's calling and your purpose and what it is that's kind of really, inspiring you on and pushing you on to bring forth what it is in your heart right now. So all of this is happening right now. You can't see it. I can't see it. All of these different conversations about you, energies, feelings from others, all sorts of things are happening that are not visible to us in our sense, or we can't hear them. It's not, five senses stuff that we're talking about here. This is tuning into the invisible. This is the part, that bigger part of us, the infinite, that is happening without us we're not even aware of this within our senses. And so we are being called to let go of this, this kind of linear experience and to allow God, the divine, to work in its mysterious ways, and for us to surrender to that and have faith. We're not the ones having to really do anything other than to be. And I know that sounds like, oh, here we go again, being. But it really is about that. It's about doing from the place of inspired action, from being open to receive, to listening, to hearing from that infinite place, rather than from the logical mind, which it will come from fear. The fear of, you've got to do it now, because if you don't do it now, then ... fill in the gap. Whew, let's take a breath here. I've said a lot. I've said a lot in 20 minutes. Welcome. More than 20 minutes, 25 minutes. So let's just have a little recap. You're here on New Thought Media Network. You're listening to me talking about this is going to happen in God's timing, not in your timing. And my points on this are, you have a purpose, you have a calling, you have a mandate. You've seen life in a new way, through that veil that doesn't even exist. You have this calling that is seated in your heart. Your job is to align with this, to be patient, to know that God has got this, and not to be this kind of in this place of lack, of feeling, why isn't it happening? To know that it is happening, and all that is being called of you right now is to relax into that and allow, and not to be dictated by timing, by a clock, by this linear experience, but to trust and surrender and have faith that in this infinite experience that is really life, the first cause, that this is being done because your thoughts, your feelings, your attitude, the atmosphere of your intention is all sparking forth the creative law. And it is happening, even you can't see it, I can't see it, and yet we get the result of it as the effect of things popping into our experience. And it's like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? I didn't make that happen, and it happened. Well, this is it. We didn't make any of it happen other than to set it in motion, knowing the truth and allowing God, the divine source, whatever it is we call it, this essence, allowing this to take over and be it and do it for us, as we know in this relaxed pose that it is already done. And so it is. And that is today. That is what I'm wanting to say today. And if you want to know more, if you're interested in my work, then please look at my website. I've left the details down below, and you can see the groups that I have and the coaching that I offer on and around all of this. Because if you have something that is incredibly powerfully important and seeded in your heart, then it is meant to be here right now. And there are 275 ways that have been recorded of different ways of doing the washing up. So there we go. We're living in an infinite universe, and the possibilities are all right here, right now. It's just that we can't always see them or won't let them into our lives because we think it should be a certain way. When we're living in the infinite and from the infinite, we open up to the possibilities and say yes to what feels good. That can be the next talk here, the next broadcast. So love and blessings to you, and any questions, please DM me. Let me know how you feel about this and what is going on in your life. And good morning to everybody that has tuned in for today's spiritual awakening alignment. And remember, there is a new Vista. There is a new mandate on your heart. And there is a new way of being in this world right now. And it is here for you. It is here for me. It is here for each of us. Big blessings to you. Until next time. And if you like this and you love New Thought Media Network, then like and share this page, like and share this video, and you can support this amazing network with your love offering donation. The link for that is down below this video also. Big blessings until next time.
New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.